Today's educational philosophy is Charlotte Mason. This is the second educational philosophy that I kind of gravitated to. Hopefully you've already read the blog about how I met Charlotte Mason and what turned out to be something that I was already doing. Autonomous Jefferson Education was my first educational philosophy. If you're not sure what that is, go watch that blog. And then the Charlotte Mason methodology is kind of similar. There's some definite crossover, but these are some terms that you might think about if you say, well, yeah, that sounds kind of like me. The first one would be that you're doing a lifestyle of learning. You're actually creating the thought process in your children as well as in yourself that school is not separate from living. Education is just part of your environment. So they learn from everything natural, like everything counts. We went to a rock and mineral show today down in Alpine, Texas with my daughter, and I wore my shirt. If you ever want to make friends with crazy rock people, wear a crazy chicken shirt and everybody talks to you. It was great. But this sweatshirt came from a lesson that I created 15 years ago so that we had that lifestyle of learning. We started with chickens, little baby chicks, and we learned all about them, not because it was a unit study, but because it was part of life. And I still have chickens now. I go to mineral and rock shows with my child or without because I'm still learning. My life is about learning. So if that sounds like something that you would like to do or something that's, oh yeah, that's perfect for me, you might be a Charlotte Mason homeschooler. Another one is discipline. A lot of times people say, well, let's unschool or let's deschool. Deschooling is different. You're actually kind of letting yourself relax and realize that all the schedules that are arbitrated for you are actually arbitrary and you don't have to do that in order to learn. That's not this. Unschooling is like just follow the kid, they'll do it. Well, Charlotte Mason is not like that. She wanted us to create disciplines and habits. There was a certain rhythm to life, and this is something that we did as well. So if you like the idea of not necessarily following a schedule, but there's things that you are supposed to do, I am, I can, I ought to do these different things. Everything that you do also is not supposed to come through textbooks, things that are regurgitated, like somebody says, oh, these are all the things you need to learn about chickens. That's not terrible, but the idea here is that you learn based on real life stuff. So books that were written because they were written with grand ideas, not because they were written to give you a checklist to then take a test so that you can get a 85% or above of knowledge of whatever that author said. So the idea is that there have been books forever that weren't created as textbooks, and those are much better to learn from. Living books is what they're called. No twaddle. Those are much better to learn from than the textbooks that have been created to make money, frankly. If you look at any industry, if you follow the money, you'll kind of follow the method and find the motivation. So how do you do these things? I would say there's 4 main things to think about. There's 20 principles, and you can absolutely go read the volumes. Volume 6 is probably the best one to start with, which is interesting because there's 6 volumes. But go and read Catherine Levison's handbook. Hers is the best. Catherine Levison wrote a Charlotte Mason handbook, and it's excellent. Very easy to read. It's not 6 volumes, and you'll get the gist of it. If you like these ideas here, that the atmosphere is already going to be learning, you don't have to separate school from life, you need some sort of habits, some discipline, and every book that you read, not every, but most of the books that you read should not be based on textbooks, it should be living books, then already you might be a Charlotte Mason, at least with a twist, type of homeschooler. The things that I did not know about yet was narration. Instead of filling things out on worksheets or instead of like writing summaries or book reports or things like that, she would say just have the children tell you what they just learned, right? So the same idea, I've learned it, I can not necessarily regurgitate it, but narrate it back to you. And so anything they've heard or read, then they process it in their own words, and then that helps them to absorb the information even better. It's super fun to hear all 5 different kids, what they picked up from different areas. The lessons are always super short. This is something I already did, right? 20 minutes or less. Never more than 20 minutes. If you're doing something for more than 20 minutes and you're frustrated, the likelihood of you breaking through after that 20 minutes is quite low. So 20 minutes or less, you'll notice all of my videos for Spanish geniuses, all of my see it and say it lessons are always, 10 minutes for the younger kids and then 20 minutes max for high schoolers. Even when I teach my hour-long courses at the community homeschool center or wherever it is, I still would have the students change what they're doing every 20 minutes in order to keep those lessons nice and brief. Nature study is a third thing, right? Narration, short lessons, and nature study. Nature study, the idea is be outside as much as possible. For those of us who grew up in public school, this was very rare, right? You had recess, but that was like a break. That wasn't learning. I remember vividly the time my second grade teacher, Mrs. Gercio, took us out on a nature walk outside the back of the school building. Oh my goodness, I think we did it 3 times in a row or 3 times over that month. And it was about birds and bees and flowers and butterflies and things like that. And she had us journal, she had us draw and note things that we did. And I don't remember anything else from her whole year, but I remember that. So nature study is being outside as much as possible and recognizing just the miracles of everything from science to seasons, weather patterns, geology. There's so much to gain simply by being outside. And then it's just creating curiosity. If you're inside with man-made things, there's not as much curiosity that you can foster. But outside, there's all sorts of things, from the wind to the sun to the stars. So as much as possible, be outside. And the fourth little core part of it is that there's a feast of subjects. So we want to make sure that you have a generous curriculum. Everything is out there. There's no like, hey, we have to stop now. So yes, 20 minutes is our potential, but if you're doing art, music, poetry, handicrafts, or any kind of language study, and they're excited about it, you keep on letting them take as much as they want. It's like a buffet. They can pick and choose. There's overlap with art, music, poetry, handicrafts, and foreign language. It all combines together to give you this rich depth of knowledge. You're not saying science is here, history is here, literature is here. It's all education. And I finish up with this for Charlotte Mason methodology. All learning is self-taught. All learning is self-taught. So anything that you're trying to get your child to learn, you're trying to teach your child, recognize that unless they're on board, it's not going to stick. They might regurgitate it, they might get a quiz right, they might get 100%. But the actual absorption that turns into a self-education is all education. They have to choose. So think about those things, and between that and a Thomas Jefferson education, where do you fall? Like I said, there's a little bit of both. I would like to remind you, this is probably the biggest thing I think that the Charlotte Mason people that are a little more strict than maybe is helpful to their life. Charlotte Mason was never a mother. She never had to raise children. So whenever you're like, how did she do all these things? She didn't. She did not do what you're doing. She had other people's children that she was training, and her methods are excellent. But please don't forget that she had no laundry, no grocery shopping, no feeding, nothing like that. Other Charlotte Mason representatives have the term mother culture, which is allowing the mom to do the things that the child do. Let the mom go out and play, right? So whatever you want to learn, you also get to learn. If you think about this as the modeling thing from Thomas Jefferson Education, you can see quite a bit of overlap there. So look into it. Maybe you're more of a Thomas Jefferson Education person. Maybe you're more of a Charlotte Mason person. Our next philosophy is going to be the classical philosophy, and we'll kind of see how does that fit in to what your educational philosophy is for your perfect homeschool day.